also we were thinking about having Danivel helping, because she has a lot of experience with this too. And I think that Lucille is here.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm sorry I couldn't make it. I'm not very familiar with Discord.
No worries.
No worries. Welcome, Lucille. So happy to see you. I've been a friend of Lucille. We know each other since the social entrepreneurship world since, I don't know, what was it, 2018, Lucille?
Yeah, exactly.
So we're very curious about learning a little bit more of the Climate Collage and its ambassador program. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure. So I don't know if Dan told you a bit what is a Climate Fresque. Now the new name is Climate Fresque, actually, more than Climate Collage. And so it's a tool that was created by a French teacher 4 years ago, which allows each person to understand the basics of climate change, climate crisis. And so it all started in France in 2018. It's a game which works with cards. You have like 40 cards. Each card is showing a component of climate change. So you have the card biodiversity, the card methane, the card agriculture, etc. And the participants need to find the causes and effects, the relationship between the cards. So this is about how is the game functioning. And so the game exploded and became very viral during the pandemic. So today we have like almost 1 million persons who play the games around the world. And there are around 35,000 facilitators, animators of the game around the world in 50 countries. So this is what we could call ambassadors of the game. And so how did it work? Basically, the game grew a lot because any person that participate as a participant to the game after can become an animator. So they just have to take another small training in order to become animator, and then they can replicate the game with their their neighbor, their family. They can even sell it in companies, and they can do it wherever. So that's it. And so today we are a community of around 35,000 volunteers around the world replicating the climate fresque around them.
Awesome. Sweet. Yeah. I don't know if anyone has any questions at this time. I know I gave Lucille a few questions from my side.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can.
Sorry, come again, Almond?
Nothing. I would say that I think that you can start with your question.
So my first question was, why did you join Climate Collage, Lucille? What inspired you to be part of this movement? Climate Fresque, sorry.
Yeah, Climate Fresque. Yeah, thank you. There is someone who put the Climate Fresque website in the chat, so that you can see what is it exactly, because it's a bit it's not very concrete when you present it like this. So why did I join initially? I was very into the ecosystem, like social entrepreneurship ecosystem and activism. So that's where I met Dan actually in Mexico. And I was very engaged into associations such as Extinction Rebellion, such as the Zero Waste Movement, etc. And I found out this game during an event about social entrepreneurship in France. Actually, someone told me about this game. It was the beginning of the game in 2019, and I really like the idea that it's a way to understand that is very playful, very easy to implement. In order to have the basics of the mechanism of climate change. So I really liked the idea, and then I participated to a game, and I found it like amazing, because it's you really spend a good time, you create link with the other participants. Although we think we are talking about a very serious and dramatic subject that is climate crisis. and it's very easy to replicate. It's very easy to get trained, and so I got trained. And when I arrived back in Mexico, it was just during the pandemic, or just before the pandemic, and then the pandemic arrived, and there was no one doing this game in Mexico. So I started to do it initially with friends, with roomies, etc. Dan was one of the first guinea pig, let's see, that tried the game. And I saw that it worked very well. People really liked it. They really got very participative into the collaborative methodology of the game. And then I decided to start a small community of animators here in Mexico. And today we are almost 200 people. And it's amazing because the game has really a very strong impact on how to understand climate change. So that's it. I don't know if it answers to your question.
Yeah, absolutely. So you brought it here to Mexico. You trained the first guinea pigs. I was one of them at the beginning, and now you say that 200 people that have been trained here in Mexico, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And out of these 200, how many people are facilitators themselves?
So there are 200 facilitators, and people that got trained with Climate Fresk. There are like almost 2,000 people that participated in a Climate Fresk in Mexico. But animators, we are like 200. And wow. Maybe very active animators, maybe there are like 30. So of course, because some of them are getting trained, and then they're doing some workshops, but then they have like other projects, or they start a new job, or they don't have time, or they don't feel secure to do a Climate Fresk, so they just don't do it. But yeah, we are like 200 animators and maybe 30, 40 that are really active.
I think that's incredible still. Like 2,000 people have participated. Out of them, 1/10, 200 have become facilitators themselves. And out of them, more than 1/10, like 115, 15% are like active facilitators.
I think, and I'm pretty sure there are more. I'm pretty sure there are more participants than 2,000. But there is like a counter on the Climate Fresk website that you need to fill in when you did a fresk with your friends, with your family, with your colleagues, etc. And I'm sure there are many people who didn't fill in the counter. So on the counter we are like 2,000 participants in Mexico, and I'm sure there are more.
Absolutely. And this has been in how long time? How much time?
In 2 years and a half, more or less. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Another of my question is, what do you think that are the key components that has made the ambassador program, or basically the growth of the Climate Fresk, so successful?
So I think first the product itself, of course. The game is very. It's a magic game. It gives you like strong data about climate change, and it's very easy to implement. You don't need to have like a climate mastering climate in order to replicate it. It's really easy to organize. It's very low tech. You don't need anything to organize it. You just need a paper and card, etc. And it's a really easy way to understand what is happening about climate change. So yeah, the game itself, first the product, of course. Then the fact that I think, there are several things. I think, we are in need of climate education in Mexico. So, and the fact that in maybe like in Spanish, it's Mural del Clima, the Spanish name, and Mexico is the country of the muralistas. So maybe it talks to people. I think there is a strong community of maybe activism here in Mexico, because people are very linked, have strong link with the ground, with the earth, etc., with the indigenous community, etc. So it's very easy to convince people to get trained and replicate it in their community. The fact also that it's very easy to become an ambassador, meaning you just participate to a training, and then you have another 3 hours course, which is almost free, and then you receive the card, and then you can start from tomorrow. So this is very easy. The process to become an animator is very, very easy. and people, the community of climate fresker, of climate animator, there are people that are really sharing the same interests about protecting the planet, about activism, green activism, etc. So there are many animators that are also becoming animators because they want to be part of a community with people that are alike and that are fighting for the planet. What else? I think also the fact that you can easily, it's not that complicated to sell the climate fresh to company and to live out of it. As a team building, as a training, etc. So I think recently, as the climate fest became more and more well known in companies, I think the last trainers that are the last animators that I trained, they were also very much interested to become an animator in order to use it to sell it to companies and to live to get a living out of this. And there is strong community of animator, meaning as we are 35,000 in the world, we have a lot of working group around the world. We're using a channel like Telegram in order to share or to have these working groups around the world, to adapt the workshop to certain kind of a population, to translate the workshop in other countries, etc. So I think the fact that there is a very strong community that is helping each other through these working groups on Telegram is helping a lot as well.
I have a question. What do animators get from being animators? Meaning that if they have a payment, if they are only part of a community, or what is the reward that they get?
So first, the empowerment of the climate risk is very strong, meaning when you become an animator and when you start to animate the workshop with your, your colleagues, your family, etc., you are very empowered because you feel empowered actually, because you become a kind of expert or seen as an expert actually, even if you're not expert, but you're seen as an expert by your peers. And this is you directly see the impact of what you do. It's very grateful when you give a workshop because you really it's a very impactful workshop and you directly see in the eyes of the participant that you are having an impact on their understanding, on their life, and etc. So I think there is a strong empowerment when you become a climate risk animator because you can directly see the impact of what you're doing. And secondly, you don't have any how do we say, monetary you don't have directly money parts, or you don't receive money directly when you do a climate workshop, except if you want to become a professional facilitator, meaning if you want to sell it in companies. So if you want to sell it in companies, you can earn money out of it, but you don't have to. Among the 35,000 animators around the world, maybe you have 2,000, 3,000 people that are making a living out of it, selling it to companies, but it's not mandatory. Generally, most of the animators are just doing as volunteers. It's like an NGO. So they're doing it as volunteers in order to spread climate education around them.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead.
Just one thing that I will add to all those factors of success, and you touch on it at the very end, but the part of the strong community of support in Telegram. And I think just having really passionate people that are leading these efforts. I know it's been a key factor in Mexico, and you have made this possible, Lucille, and you have supported so much the community. I praise you for that, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's not only me, but actually, as it's about climate, you have a lot of activism. So people are not doing it only because they just want to spread education, but there are really people, and not only in Mexico, but around the world, who are doing climate fresh not only at their job but also because it's their life, because they're activists. So this is a very strong part. And actually, one of the thing that it's funny, but it's not very funny actually. But in one of the working group in France that we have now in France, is that we are trying to see how we could work on the burnout of some animators, because there are many animators in France for whom they are getting burnout because their life is about climate risk, because they are thinking, they are dreaming, they are sleeping climate risk, and it's having impact on their health. So yeah, it became at this stage in France that there are people that are really getting obsessed with this workshop.
Wow, that's crazy. And can you a little bit about how's the age of the people that's a facilitator? Like maybe they're around their 20s or their 25s, or it doesn't matter. Maybe they're around all ages.
No, no, it doesn't matter. It's really like any kind of age you can. I mean, maybe I would say that people start to facilitate, or they feel secure to facilitate. Maybe it starts around like between 25 and 30, but you have animators of any age. It's really, and the workshop itself is available from 16 years old, and then you have participants of any age. And this is one of the force of the workshop as well, is that it's really accessible to anyone, and to experts and to beginners in climates. Anyone is going to learn something. So yeah.
Nice. And you mentioned that there's animators all around the world, but do you have like maybe which are the strongest countries? I guess of course France. Then you mentioned Mexico, but can you mention other ones?
Yes, France, of course, because it's a French NGO. And then in Europe, we have like the strong country. There are like Belgium, there is UK. The UK, there is a very strong community. Spain as well. Australia, the US, Brazil, Mexico. And so yes, actually, I'm going to send you a link in which you see the growing in all the countries. And so you have an idea.
Also, Lucille, I just want to...
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Ahmed.
Yeah, so the people that join the program, do you also have them recruit more people for the program as well?
Sorry, I'm not sure that I got your question.
So, like, let's say that I become someone that, like, basically is someone that's, like, running these workshops. I mean, is it my job to also look for more people to also become facilitators as well?
Yeah, exactly. When you do a workshop, one of the elements that you give at the end. So how is the workshop working? So the participants are discussing between themselves in order to understand the link of causality between the cards. And then we end the workshop with a debate of the individual and collective solution that you can implement. And when we end the workshop, we say, okay, one of the big collective action that you can implement is education, of course, because if everyone will do climate risk, everyone will have like the basic knowledge about climate, and they will like change their way of living. And so we invite them to become an animator in order to replicate the workshop around them. And actually, there is something that I didn't tell you about the community, and that is helping a lot also, is that the organization implemented a kind of journey of the facilitator, the journey of the animator, with kind of, such as like the judo or karate belts. You have like different levels. And so we have exactly that in the climate risk, meaning that when you're trained in order to become a facilitator, you are a white belt. And then once you do like one autonomous fresk, you become a yellow belt, etc., etc. And then you are like gaining more and more experience. And like the biggest belt is like the black one. And so this kind of gamification between the freskers, I think it helps a lot in order to support the animator to grow or to gain competence, to gain like not competence as you say, to gain knowledge in order to animate fresk.
Yeah, knowledge. I just want to be very mindful. Lucille, you do have something at midday, right? In 2 minutes.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so maybe you can go with your question very quick, Ashley, and I can take it from there.
No. It's like actually I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can. Yeah, I don't know if I can. I'm not sure I can share my screen here. No.
You can.
Yeah.
You can. Okay. So maybe how do you say it like this? Okay, let me try. No, I'm not sure I can. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I will try. No, I think I cannot.
There we go. It's loading.
Yeah, because I think I need to close. That's Discord and come again. No, I think I can't. But maybe I think it's a good question. And Dan, don't hesitate if you have also like an idea because you're also part of the community.
One of the things I will say that we have monthly drinks and they're fun. It's nice people to be surrounded with.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we do. We organize drinks monthly. And actually, regarding the belts, so maybe Dan, afterwards, you can share your screen in order to show in your, your espacio personal del animador. You can show how you can what are the different belts and how you can grow and how does it appear in your personal space. Maybe so that you can see. But yeah, so. Yeah, maybe the fact that we are meeting regularly. I think, as I say, I mean, it's a very grateful. How do we say? It's not grateful. The word like gratificante. No sé cómo.
Rewarding.
Yeah, rewarding. Exactly. It's a very rewarding workshop when you give it. I mean, you really see directly the impact of what you're doing. So I think this is the main motivation for the animators.
Yeah, for sure. Lucille, it's 1 p.m. If you have to go, feel free.
Yeah, I will leave. So, and no worries. If you want to have more questions, you can give them to Dan. I sent you a link in the chat that shows like the exponential and how is it. If you pass your mouse on the different countries, you can see where it grew much. And yeah, like whatever. If you have more like question, just let me know.
Thank you so much, Lucille.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You're going to get gift tokens for this.
Okay.
Cool. Hey guys, so what do you think?
I already signed up for a workshop.
Nice.
Yeah, honestly, it's like super impressive how they achieve those numbers.
It's amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Ashley, for asking that. At the moment, I was kind of like in this journey, similar to Lucille. Like, I want to do good for the world. You know, I also want to make a living out of that. And when Lucille told me about Climate Collage, one of the things that made it very interesting for me was the upside. Like, I could also become a professional facilitator, and I could just teach people about climate change and make a living out of that. That was very interesting for me. Then just I also kind of like I hate talking about all the problems of the world in that mindset, in the mindset of problems of the world, and kind of like all depressing. And just by it being a game and the format, it was also very interesting for me. Let's change the narrative and let's think about not the problems but the solutions and how could we live in a place that is better. So those were kind of like two of the things that attracted attracted me to it. But what made me stay was the community, because then I found like-minded people, which were also very cool. I never really made too much money out of it. I made some, but not much. Um, but then it was very interesting for me to start doing it. One of the things on the journey, once that you become a facilitator, uh, is start by doing it with friends and family. And I think that is super powerful, because then you start really sharing about something different with people that are probably, I mean, my friends and family are not super into climate change, but it was an interesting way of learning on how to give the workshop. And it was also a very easy way to do my first and second workshops. And so that's kind of like the journey, like having a defined journey. It's also, so it makes it way easier. Like you finish the workshop as a participant, and then here's the next step. Like subscribe right now to become a facilitator. And then 1 out of 10, at least in Mexico, did it. And then you finish the facility, you finish that one, and it says, okay, next thing, do one with friends and family. And you do that one, and then there are some workshops that the organization kind of like has its own workshops, digital and physical. And then you can just join one, or you can just start facilitating one. So that helps, because you can organize it yourself, but then you can also just sign up as a facilitator for one that is hosted or organized by the organization. Yalmon, you wanted to ask something?
No, sorry, I thought that Mitch wanted to ask something, but he didn't want to. Sorry. Go ahead, Gotave.
No, I think that's really cool.
Well,
also, whenever you first joined, how many people were in the community at that time when you first joined? Because you said you were one of the early people, right?
I was the first batch in Mexico, and now I was impressed. Like, I didn't know that there were more than 2,000 people that have been trained and more than 200 facilitators. That number impressed me the most.
And when you joined, there were how many?
I was the first 8 facilitators.
That, like,
one of the first 6.
What made you stay was like the community, right? So this is why I'm wondering, like, what's a good amount of people to have in one place? If we're gonna start having ambassadors around the world, we want to like start them in groups, where they can be together, right? So like, do we start with a group of 10 people in one place, or like how many people gives you that sense of community?
I think, like, for example, Lucille already had friends, and Lucille was a great ambassador. So I think Lucille is part of the success of the climate fresque in Mexico. Because she already knew a lot of people that were interested on the topic. And so since she brought it here and did 2 workshops, there was already a nice community of like-minded people.
I just liked the idea of like the person who gets the workshop gets to share it with others, right? So that group could actually create itself if there is just 1 or 2 people that receive this, and the task would be +5, whatever.
Yeah, so there's like a feedback loop, basically, where you have to find more people, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like a ripple effect. But they empower you. And also, like, the Telegram community is very helpful. It's very decentralized. It's amazing how decentralized Climate Collage has been, and it's key of how it has grown. It empowers everyone. Like, they empower Lucille to become country leader. Then Lucille empower us to start with our own communities, and there's a lot of peer-to-peer support. But yeah, for me, if I kind of like will have to I don't know how to say that. Highlight the key points of what Lucille said and what I think of what made it so successful is having like really passionate people about the topic that are already like climate activists or interested in it. Then having the upside, I think, is one thing that encourages a lot of people. Like I can make something out of this or earn something out of this, and being much or little, that's cool. And then having an easy journey and knowing that what you do, whatever it is, it's going to be impactful. I think those are some of the key elements.
Yeah, I also think that. Well, I was taking some notes. Maybe you were too. I'm going to share these afterwards, but I think that something that is very attractive too is the materials, right? The materials are really clear, and maybe a deck or the steps, just like everything is really easy for people just to jump in and understand, okay, this is the next step. Okay, now I have these channels to talk to other people and they can guide me. Okay, like, you know, the TV materials are very, very smooth and straightforward.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's also like the level of how easy it is versus how challenging it is very well balanced. Because on the one side, you do have some, as you say, Almond, some materials. Like I have some physical cards, and I have like the digital cards in a mural, and I could just use these tools that make it. I'm not just anyone talking about climate change. I have kind of like a methodology and something that is very specific, which is Commons with Creative like license with Creative Commons license. But then, so it's not just it's this crazy cousin Dan that is just rambling about climate change in the dinner, like family dinner or something. You do have some materials and some methodology of something that is like larger than you. But on the other side, it's not too complicated as I need to learn a lot of things, or I need. It's quite easy and straightforward. I don't know.
Yeah, so if you wanted to make money from this, like I see on their site, they say like they recommend that you charge like 150. Like I'm not sure if that's like how much they charge for a workshop. I mean, but if you want to give this workshop, I mean, are you free to basically like let people pay whatever they want, and then like how does it work basically?
It's kind of like very. So the idea is, there is conventions, right? It will be. We don't want to charge like be a race to the bottom where every person is charging less than the others, and then like the value is completely out of the window. So there is this kind of like if you are offering it to businesses, then you might want to offer it for, I don't even remember the number, but like 150 euros per person. But if it's not to businesses, if it's kind of like retail, then you can do it like for 10 or 15 euros per person. And if you're going to do it for a school, for example, then you can do it for free. If you are going to charge for it, you should pay 10% to the organization. Like there is no strong. I don't think that I haven't done it in a while. There were no such like strong mechanisms to enforce it. But if you are becoming a professional facilitator, if you are going to like, you have like some social value stake, right? If someone sees that you like are doing the workshops and charging, but not giving a fee to the organization, then you might lose some reputation.
And then, Kotabe, for you, is the motivation these belt things? Like, I want to be a yellow thing. I want to be the black one. Like, because I think that in Web3 would be powerful just to gamify and make this like gamify game for become an ambassador. I haven't seen that in Web3, but that actually works.
Yeah, when I was doing it to like really thinking about making my living out of it, I was like, okay, I'm going to be one of the first ones in Mexico to do this. It had its challenges, of course, because I was opening a market and it was very slow at the beginning. But the benefit was I will be the first, blue belt in Mexico. So I need to do 10 workshops as soon as possible so that I get to this blue belt. So that will mean that I will have to train 80 people because each workshop is for 10 people, like give or take. And so I train about 50 people. Sorry, Ashley.
I was just gonna ask if you could show us what it looks like when you go into your dashboard where you level up and stuff. Like, what does it appear to you as an ambassador?
I haven't used it in so long. Let me try to find it. Okay, I'll share my screen.
I think he dropped off.
Oh, you're right. He dropped off.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's out. He's back.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
I was just also asking Franco, how easy was it for you to log in to be a participant?
Oh, it was super easy. I just like went in. It's like I looked up to like in Spanish and like in Barcelona, and like several like appeared like several workshops, and it was just like your name, your email, like boop, sign up. That's it. So I'm gonna go check it out. I don't know. Seems fun. I'm wondering what it looks like this game.
Yeah, it's super interesting that they actually have all the data of all the animators of each country. So I think that's so cool. I think that for animators, okay, like they don't get payment or whatever, but these climate fresks really recognize them and reward them by putting all their workshops in their site and just put everyone on the map and just integrate them into the official tools. And they have a Greta Thunberg quote.
Yeah. I think another thing that, they found really passionate people, and that's how they also grow a lot, because they really are targeting their audience, which I think it's also our audience. When I went into the last drinks in December and I talked about Giveth, and they were very interested in kind of like engaging more.
Yeah, I think that, well, I mean, we can work through the passion of generating an impact and making a change in people. I think that that's like really strong hook for people to join something like this. For sure, climate change is huge, and Web3 is not that huge. But for sure, I think that this element of passion for generating an impact is there. And I also think that we have some cool ventajas, like being able to make these levels through blockchain technology, and actually, instead of giving belts, giving NFTs that prove your level, or actually reward people through praise, or I don't know. I think that there's a lot of elements that we can put together to make something like this scalable and successful.
Yes, I agree totally. I had to recover my password, and I don't know why right now it's in French. Maybe Mitch can help us. But I think this is my dashboard. So I think I only made it 5. Like,
You want me to translate?
I facilitated 5. Yeah.
5 workshops facilitated, 20 persons affected, and then you haven't done any trainings. Formation animée, yeah, you haven't done any formations, and you haven't trained anybody.
I haven't updated a lot of these things, but here is some of the information of the workshop that I did.
Yeah. Oh, your profile is incomplete, Kotabe.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, blue belt, entretien, like maintenance, observed a training, 20 trainings for blue belt, green belt, first training, observing a first training, maintenance, observing a workshop, 15 workshops, orange belt, yellow belt.
So I made it to orange, right? I think I started here, and then I made it to orange.
You start from the bottom. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
White belt, yeah. And then yellow belt, and then orange belt.
Okay. And is this like a manual thing? Like someone from their side has to verify that you finish these steps?
I don't think there is like a lot of verification. You just like fill in information. When you do a
Like
workshop,
a form or something. Yeah.
exactly. You have to fill in a form. And when you do a training with another person, I think that the other person also has to put like that you made this training with them. And that's it. So I think it's cross-reference.
I completed this many workshops, like how just fill in the form a bunch of times. How is it that they validate it?
I am not sure, but that's a better question for Lucille. I will ask her.
But it's really cool that you have a dashboard, actually.
Yeah, and it
Just-
doesn't look like too like complex or anything like this. And I think with some NFTs and some sound effects, we could make it a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was just imagining that, having a dashboard. I bet Mitch will love to build something like that and just to have some NFTs there and fun things. That would be great.
And I think I was describing it to Almond the other day. I think Climate Collage has done an amazing work finding out the people that are interested in making a better world. Mostly are focused on climate change, but not only on climate change. Usually there is convergence. Like when people are focused on climate change, they're also focused on other problems of the world. And they already have kind of like these roots or these branches. And I think it will be super easy for Giveth to act as oh man, I forgot the name of it. Enredadera in English. Alma, do you know? Like a vine that extends through the branches. So because I've seen when I went to these drinks on December, I saw that there were people very interested in Giveth, and there was just, if we had an easy way to onboard people and a journey for them, like Climate Collage, I think that it will be super easy for them to start jumping into Giveth and use kind of like the social infrastructure and social layer that already Climate Collage has. Climate Collage should have its project on Giveth, by the way. That's in the making. For free workshops for schools, for example, that are paid to the volunteers, but that are free for the schools. Anyway, do you want to know anything else about the Climate Fest, or should we kind of like go back to? I know Ahmad just made some comments on the draft that we made on how can Giveth's ambassador program look like.
Yeah, I think it would be nice if we can all think about how can we do our own and what would it look like.
Cool. So let me find that file.
I think I have it. I can share it on the chat.
Yeah, that would be great.
There you go.
Can you see it? Hello, hello.
I cannot see it, but I've just opened the document. I'm just
No, I can't see it.
Yeah, for some reason it's still loading your screen.
Okay, let me try again.
Now we can see it.
Oh. So Alma made the research and she put some of these kind of like elements, and so.
Oh,
I don't think Otave can share his screen because his computer crashes every time he tries.
and
I can share mine.
Yeah, maybe one of us can share instead.
Okay. So maybe we can take note just down of the document to order everything later. Oh no, I get this. Nah.
Do you need me to kind of like change the edit permits or?
Yeah, just because, well, if you want to write, maybe instead of me, because I get this every time that I think.
I can write, or I can also change the edit.
Sure, I just wanted to take some notes, like first thoughts of everyone, like to approach of an own ambassador program. But yeah, I was thinking about it would be great to have a dashboard like the one that Climate Frisk has, but I don't know if that would take a lot of work, you know, like is great all the work that they have made, but it sounds like too complicated. So I was thinking how it would be a good first start to this, maybe without having a dashboard or maybe without having all these tools, but just to not take like a year to launch, you know?
Yeah, for sure. No, I also believe that we should start with an MVP, very simple, just a journey. But I do, for example, on this topic, I do put here, somewhere here, platform training to have kind of like deck and tool creation. It doesn't have to be kind of like something very complicated, but it will be great to give them kind of like media deck. When you share with media, that you tell them like this is the links that you need. These are the copies. This is kind of like the key things to make it easier. And it can be like something very simple, like something that is. I think Climate Collage also has kind of like a media kit, and so you already have a presentation, you already have this and that, and so it's very easy to start representing Climate Collage very soon, and you have kind of like the key tools that you need to do that.
Yeah, I remember that when I started as part of the Doing Good Ambassador program, they had only a Notion page in which they had everything tracked. So there were not anything automatic. It was only a Notion page in which you had like a contact list, and then you put the information of the workshops that you were going to have. So I think that Notion will be a great starting point, maybe. For every ambassador, I think that we could create just a Notion for every ambassador for them to fill the information there, and create maybe a main one in which we keep all the information available for everyone, just to, if they want to take a look. But I don't think that we should just like go straight with the tooling and with the developing tools at the beginning. I don't know what everyone else believe, or if you would like to start this conversation with a step before this, if you like the idea of the ambassador program, or like, what are your thoughts?
No, yeah, I was just gonna say that like before we get into like the how to do it, we should probably talk about like what exactly is the program and why should people join.
Yeah, it's for sure, I agree.
Yeah, so like from my side, I think like one of the important things that maybe we didn't really highlight in this document was we do want to focus on getting new donors into Giveth, and like not just make it like a program just to onboard projects. So I think that's something maybe we should make clear is, is it like a program for donors and projects? And if it is, maybe there's different kinds of ambassadors. Maybe like there's some that onboard projects on the ground, and some are just, to get more people to join onto Giveth as like a donor.
Yeah. I also think, and we are like with chain buying, we're going to have like a tool for donors, for onboarding donors, and be rewarded for it. I also think that's important. I tend to agree with what the Connect group mentioned a lot earlier, which is like your donors usually don't go to a platform to look for what project in the platform they are going to like. Usually, people already know who are doing something that they are excited about, and if they are going to donate, they can like know to whom they want to donate. So I do believe that also a lot of donors are brought by projects, but we also need to develop those skills in projects. And one thing that I've been having in mind, and I will probably, if there is agreement of that it is important, I would like to dedicate some time to, is to create kind of like make a training for fundraisers, either from projects, which is this point 4, either for projects to develop their fundraising skills, or for just kind of like maybe these ambassadors can become fundraisers, and maybe they can be people from DreamDAO and people from BlueDAO and HerDAO, which are kind of like putting their first toe into the water of Web3, and they're looking for opportunities. And becoming fundraisers could be like a good opportunity to learn, and they might not be like looking for crazy returns on that besides learning. And then these people who bring donors, but by becoming kind of like ambassadors in this stream of becoming fundraisers. And then they can work with the projects. This is one idea for the donors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So I do agree. But I think, if you look at this as like a scale where we need donors and projects, I think now we're sort of like on the side of having a lot more projects than donors. And I think, if we want it to be like a healthy platform, we probably need like 5 times more donors than projects, where now it's like we have probably like maybe less than half of the donors. If you compare it to the number of projects that we have, or like at least donors that are donating larger, amounts. So yeah, I do think it's important, and I think one of the challenges is that I don't think we've seen a lot of projects onboard their users to donate on Giveth, except for projects that are Web3 native projects. But the ones that are not, I think that we struggled a bit to get them to activate their own donor base. So I think that's definitely something that hopefully this program can help to solve.
So I think more importantly than like teaching people how to donate, but like invoking within them like why they would want to donate, right? So before like even teaching them how to donate, we need to tell a story similar, like think of the climate change thing. similar to this. Like we need to like paint this picture of our vision and our mission and kind of this like conceptual ideas and like starting to flip these switches for people that like they haven't yet flipped. So we're talking about people who, you know, are coming at this like similar to the flea workshop, and maybe the flea workshop could be a great prototype for something like this, you know, to see how this is taken in. But I think a lot of the stuff we should be sharing is conceptual and telling this story beforehand so that it's like very easy for people to understand, right?
Meaning maybe like a presentation about kind of like, how do you envision this? Maybe about these numbers that Griff always presents at the beginning of his presentation, like this amount has been used to public goods, like something like that, you mean? Or something more related to Giveth or in general?
Like, how do we invoke the emotion of the people that we're like giving this presentation to? Like, why are we passionate, and why should they also be passionate about this thing? You know, like, why is climate change a problem, and why should you be passionate about changing it? Why is the current system a problem, and why should we be passionate about revolutionizing the way that we donate and the way that we reward people and the way that our economics work? Like, why should people care, first of all? And then once they do care, how can they help? Like, you can donate, or you can help teach more workshops, or you can do this, or, you know, join our community, join our efforts.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is very important. Actually, I put somewhere in that document also kind of like creating a game, just thinking about the climate collage. Something very simple that could be made in Miro or Mural with some cards about how to turn for good projects into regenerative economy so that people understand what we're trying to do. Because there is a presentation of the climate collage that discuss. I think actually in that document, I have that there is an image. Can you go a little bit up, Almond? I think that's a really good image. I like it. That one. So one of the things that it says is that they're transiting, like this is based on the climate collage, and they're transiting from presenting the topic from a boring and confusing approach to a fun and interesting by making it a game. In talks and videos, there is kind of like low attention span. People start thinking about other things, start using their phone, and like knowledge retention, it's like under 30%. Whereas in interactive games, building and when you're building their own knowledge and you're forced to think, not only listen, then retention of knowledge goes up to above 70%.
The topic from being like only overwhelming and this kind of like we're all doomed because of climate change or because of all the system and problems, feeling more empowered that I can start taking an action now. So making it's actually at that point regeneration, a game on how to grow impact. We could start telling the narrative with a game, but I put it down at the bottom because I don't think it's kind of like one of the lower fruits, because it's starting something from scratch. Might be super worth it, but I don't know how it will take some time. I mean, we can make a game in 3 hours or something like that and see how it works, but it's really outside of our kind of like core activities. So I put it like down there as an alternative at the very bottom.
Yeah, I think for sure it would be great to have a game or to have something like that, but maybe to make our lives easier and also the people that is interested in joining, we can, because I agree, before telling the story of how to donate or like fundraise, or we should like tell the Web3 story, because this is like really entry-level, zero knowledge Web3 focus. For me, it would be maybe not targeted even to people in Web3. It would be more targeted to people in the impact space that is tired of the economic systems that are broken, is tired of getting or not getting donations in the regular system. For me, it's like really targeted to those people that is just sick of the economic model that it is right now. For me, of course, we need to like discuss this. And in that case, I think that, like the first part would be to tell kind of like the story of like the beginning of things. I remember in Doing Good, it was like that. Like we talk about what is blockchain. They give us this deck. They have this deck prepared for us just to start gaining confidence and to start building our own skills. So they had like this deck prepared that was really entry level of like, this is a token, this is NFTs, this is Web3, and these are the world problems. And then, hey, you can find these solutions. And then at the end, something that I liked is that within the solutions, they included Doing Good as part of it, but also like other options. And that was really heavy focus to NFTs, but they included like know your origin or foundation or just like whatever other platforms without making like a direct shield to Doing Good. So maybe that would be a good way to start, just really entry level targeting to newcomers. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, I really like that. And I also think that it will be ideal to get more donors. But I'm just also thinking from the perspective of most people that I know that can be really good Giveth ambassadors. And I know people that have a lot of projects. I don't know many like wealthy donors myself. And I think a lot of people in the global south probably are the same. I know people at least around me in my context. But I do think that people can start contributing. And I do think that what we can focus on, in addition to trying to bring more like heavy donors, is telling the story on why, as you said, Ahmad, like current projects that are on Giveth and that are coming outside of the blockchain bubble are not bringing their donors. But I think that we have not helped them or empowered them to tell a narrative of why donors will make a best deal donating to these projects in crypto and getting givebacks, for example.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree. I think also, I think, what was also mentioned before in this call, like, I forgot who said it, but I think we should think about what is like this journey that we want them to go on. So it's like, okay, starting with what is Web3, why should they think about this? Like, why is this a solution that's worth their time? And then as like a next step, I think that the big barrier is, every time like I tell my friends about what we do, they go on the website and then they don't know what to do next, honestly. Like, they get stuck. And part of it is like our platform is designed for people that are already in Web3. But I think we should have a way where maybe it's on the ground through like a workshop where we get people to sign up, make a web wallet, and have them log in for the first time and do it on the ground with them so they actually see how it is. And then that would also kind of be like a fun activity to also do in a workshop where, like imagine that you got like 30 people in a room and all of them are going and, making their first MetaMask account and, having all of them log in at the same time. Maybe we send all of them like a very small, amount of give tokens so they can, see how it works, so I think like maybe something like that would be cool if we can have these like parties on the ground where, each of us get like 30 people to just donate, one give token to any project, and I mean, like if we do that like 50 times, suddenly we have like, 200 and donors, just in like a single, like a single time of doing this, right? So yeah, I mean, maybe something like that would be like a cool idea.
Yeah, you're right. Why to think like in the donors, right? Like we have this donor word. What but at the end we can all be donors, and we all heard that really it makes a difference if you have like a lot of donors versus just having one big donor. So maybe, yeah, like target to nonprofits and donors is basically the same audience, and I agree 100% that we should have this hands-on part of whatever we come up with, because I remember, and again, I'm sorry for putting my own example, but I remember when I gave my own Web3 and blockchain workshops here in Mexico, people was like so eager because I made this presentation about like cool NFT projects and Web3 and blockchain, and like I even got NFT artists invited, and they talk about their experience being graffiti artists but also NFT artists, and people was like, wow. But then I remember that I avoid the hands-on part because doing good tools were so shitty, and I think that they kind of like still are kind of shitty, so they never worked. So I was like, oh no, I don't want to just fucked up everything because tool's not working and just showing something that's not like, it really is not going to work. So I will avoid this part. But at the end, the question that everyone had was just like, okay, and then how do I do it? How do I start? Like, like that was the part that was missing. So for sure, something that we should include in this as well. Having in mind that Giveth tools actually work. Yay.
Yes. I really like the suggestion that you made, Ama. I think that those are the lowest hanging fruits. We already, and as you said, we already have tools that are working, and we can show people how to use them and how to become like maybe small donors at the beginning, and how to show this to their own networks. So I think that the lowest hanging fruits are kind of like, making some media kit similar to the one that you were mentioning about that Doing Good was using, and then also like these super easy workshops on kind of like key things of Giveth, which includes like being a donor, maybe using Give Power, and Web3 in general, and kind of like what's the large vision, and maybe this can become like the entry point and the journey. I believe that we need to have a strong journey. That I agree with Matt. Like when people just come in and then like, okay, but what do I do next? Like they should not have this question of what do I do next. Like there should be a very specific journey.
I wanted to share an example of an ambassador program that I once applied to. It's called Scale. It's this community. I don't know. They do it's I don't know, something Web3 something. I just posted the thing on the chat, and I remember what they were offering in exchange of signing up for the program. Some benefits like money. It wasn't much. I think it was 500 USD a month or something, whatever. But what they did was look for people who already knew what Web3 and crypto was. So it was a little bit more focused on the people that were looking for as well. and you can see on the webpage as well, like if you go down, it says like become a Scale ambassador. It says the Scale ambassador program selects individuals who are passionate about like Scale whatever mission, and then it says if you believe that in Scale, and then if you have an understanding of blockchain decentralization and Web3, then you sound like a great fit to participate. So it could also be like a focus, like a lookout for people who already like kind of know what it is, so you don't have to explain them all. And then the benefits, obviously not paying like money, but we can think of different benefits. For example, there's another one this one I don't know, but there's this ambassador program that was kind of like trying to research, but there's not a lot on, like they have it like very well explained, but then you don't even know how to join the ambassador program. Is the Aragon one as well. Looks pretty cool. They have some blogs, like entries that are very interesting. But yeah, like then I don't like, it doesn't really like say much about it. It just says like these are the benefits. You can join this way, but there's not a lot. Maybe I can ask. I know some of the Aragon people. They come here to work at the Giveth house. Maybe I can ask them a little bit more about this.
I agree. I think that that's a great point. I've seen, while I was doing the research, I saw like a bunch of ambassador programs because that's something that Web3 loves, right? But then a lot of them, they're just like abandoned, or they like are kind of like sketchy, or they haven't updated anymore because they just dropped the program. So I think that's something that we should like really watch, just to follow up on these to look trustworthy.
I remember when I did the interview for the ambassador in Scale, they had this like dynamic of like giving you goals, like monthly goals, like you should make like a meeting, or you have to like translate or retweet like this amount of like things or something like this. I remember there was kind of like this. So like also that could be a thing, like a dynamic, like setting goals, like creating a meeting in your community or something like this and show some results. I don't know. Just ideas.
Yeah, I wonder like how much of this is centralized as far as at least the culture, climate collage one, and see if we can like model that as much as we can as we go. Just keep in mind to like try to make it as decentralized as we can as we build something like this. And I had a really great idea. We were talking about the dashboard and maybe it being like a future thing, but do you guys remember when Bigamot was making that share dashboard and we could like customize it to our community, and we could every user had their own dashboard, they could get badges and different like rewards, and we could set bounties for different tasks, and each person has like different levels they could level up within. Like we could totally just start with that as a dashboard. We wouldn't need to build anything. We could just use that.
Ash, what was the name again? I didn't get it.
It's called Share.
Sure. Okay, like share like this.
SHARE. Yeah. Yes.
Sure, and then share dashboard, maybe.
Let me show you. I can bring up Giveth somewhere.
Okay.
I'll post a link in the thing. So yeah, I think that we could totally use that. And I think it's also really good to keep in mind that as we're talking about organizing workshops for brand new audiences and also like creating games for people to participate, like we have two really good opportunities to like maybe test some of these theories or like see how it goes with the impact quests at Denver, and then with the workshop that you guys will be doing at Flea, we can like really do some research on some best approaches and incorporate some of the stuff that we learn while we're making these games and while we're doing these workshops, that we can incorporate into maybe some of these programs that we want to start with the ambassador program as well. So let me find this. I'll share the link, but yeah, I know we're getting close to the end of the time here.
Yeah, thank you. Just a quick thing. We could even use our NFTs as like the badge that just you can prove that you're part of an ambassador program. That's kind of like the way in which Dreamed Out do it. Just you get an NFT and then you're just part of the Dreamed Out, let's say, official community. So that could be also used for the NFTs that we're working forever.
Yeah, I was going to suggest the same thing. It's just a question of like, if they then if they're later not an ambassador anymore, how do you handle that?
I think one way of going through this is like you can have very specific pops or NFTs that is like, for example, you were not here, Corey, but I was showing what I did in the climate collage and my journey. And it says that I made 5 climate collages. And they were like, I don't know, 3 years ago. So it just says that I've done it. It doesn't say that, kind of like,
yeah.
So you can do some NFTs that say like, you've done this. And that's cool because you have. But it doesn't mean that you are active this year. Maybe we can have some others that are more kind of like, well, you're active right now. And that one can be given every certain time.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yay, I can't believe we've been here from an hour and a half. It was so fast.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. But, I think that we make a really good progress with this. I'm going to put the notes that I took from the climate fresque and also this ones just to clean it up a little bit so we can all just have them and then we can just follow up with this. But I think it was a great session. Thank you, Kotabe, for bringing Lucille.
Thanks so much for pushing this.
Because somehow I missed the memo on this. I would have loved to join, but I didn't know it was happening at this time.
I live streamed it, so you'll be able to find it on the YouTube. I'll post a link.
Okay. Is there another one scheduled? Is this a regular meeting?
Not right now.
This is the first one, but I think that there will be more in the future for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just I don't know why you missed it. I have it on my calendar, Corey, but next one I'll make sure to share